Greetings, everyone. Happy Tuesday after Easter. It's Reverend Chris. And the reason that you're not seeing my face right now is because I'm still in my PJs. It's just been, everything has just been so intense. And there's plenty more coming, and you can see that in the news and everything all around you. It's just blowing up, so to speak. Now, I'm not pulling cards for this week because everything is so intense and so jumbled, and there is so much being sent to at least me and many others, particularly this week, that as of today, all of my clients for this week rescheduled for next week. And so there's never an accident in that. My team always arranges for me to have time and space to deal with what I need to deal with personally. So that's part of the message that I want to impart to you this week, is that just chill, breathe, let go of fear. You're going to start seeing things get so absolute. I mean, we thought they're crazy before, many of us, but there are an awful lot of people that are really waking up right now, that are starting to see that things just don't add up, not just with this virus, but all the way around, that they're starting to see that the media that they have been trusting for their information has been lying to them, or if not outright lying, only telling them half-truths that supported their own narrative that they're trying to push on us, their own controlling narrative. If you have not yet seen the documentary video, Out of Shadows, I am putting a link to it at this point, and you'll see it up in the upper left hand of the screen. I'm going to put it there, and I'll put it down below the video when I post it. Please watch it. Please watch it. This is not a political documentary. This is a documentary for our times. It's a documentary for the Great Awakening, the Great Opening, our ascension, our moving into a higher, better, more loving state of being. So this video exposes all of the ways in which we have been manipulated and controlled for decades. For everybody, it's all of our lives that we have been controlled in this way. How it happened, who was in charge of doing it, how it has spread, what it has done, what the agenda is. And it also talks about the child trafficking in human sex trafficking, and all of that. It's all part of the same picture. And so I would recommend that you watch that video. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. It is such a good documentary presentation that it was, I think it was presented on Saturday morning or late Friday night. By yesterday evening, Monday evening, it had gotten over 4 million views. That should tell you that it's going viral, because it is so well done and is really waking a lot of people up. So even if you have seen it, please make sure that you're sharing it with others. Now, you need to just, and don't, for those of you who are trying to quote unquote red pill people, don't do that. Don't try and push stuff on them. Just share it with them and say, hey, look, I watched this and I'd like your opinion on it. What do you think? When you ask people for their opinion, when you ask them what they think of something, that shows them that you value them and you value what they think and their opinion, and it isn't defensive and offensive. You know, it's not that you got to watch this so you can see the truth. No, no, just share it with them and say, look, I saw this. I want to know what you think about it. Start the conversation, because even if somebody watches it and doesn't necessarily believe what they're seeing, because there are going to be a lot of people, and why aren't they not going to believe what they're seeing? Because of the program that they are running will cause them to reject things. But even though they may reject it initially, they have seen it. They can't unsee it. They can't remove the information from their matrix. It's there. So as that starts to percolate in and they look around, then it's going to resonate with parts of the movie. They're going to see in their outside world validation for what the video showed them. So I would recommend this greatly. And there is so much going on right now, exposing the wrongdoings, the lies, the deceit of so many people and organizations and countries. We have China under the microscope big time because of this virus and so many different ways. I don't want to concentrate on the virus because frankly, I am sick to death of hearing about coronavirus. I don't want to hear about coronavirus anymore. I would be totally happy if I never heard about it again. So my message here to you this week is to make you aware that we are in a huge place of undoing, where we have been in a place of undoing to some extent for quite a while. This is coming into the end stage undoing. And it's going to be fierce. And for many, it's going to be painful, and it's going to be painful for quite a while. While we're still in, shelter in place, lockdown mode, people have time now to research things and start looking for themselves and seeing what's going on. Magenta Pixie has done a really kind of wonderful job of putting together a list of things that people that are home and starting to ask questions, those who are new to being aware of these things. And for those of you listening to this broadcast who are in that place, don't take offense. We lovingly refer to you as newbies, and we welcome you on board. All the newbies coming online who are opening to this awareness, who are waking up and starting to see that the things that they thought were so may not necessarily be so, okay? And are coming up with that cognitive dissonance that is going to, excuse me, move them forward as they dig into it. So welcome all of you. So what I want to say to you this week is that this is huge and getting bigger. You can probably, those of you who are energetically sensitive are probably feeling it like this huge, irritating energy You can't define it, you can't place it, you can't figure out where it's coming from because it's almost like it's all around you. This irritation. Frequencies and energies that are just not in resonance with any part of your being. And these resonances and energies are just coming at us from all sides as this all just unravels, beyond unravel, blows up, blows up all over the place. People are being exposed for their lies and their falsehoods. People are being arrested for their crimes, their fraud, their deceit, their sex trafficking, and numerous other crimes that are being exposed, and people are being called onto the carpet and arrested for. People who thought they were untouchable are starting to get really worried. And, you know, the powers that were, because they no longer are, they just aren't ready to see that yet because they're not going to go out with a whimper. The elite powers and the dark powers that have been ruling this planet for so long and ruling all of us for so long are seeing their control matrix break down. Remember, I showed you that. I'm gonna connect that video here as well. The breaking down of the control matrix. The love breaks the control matrix. If you haven't seen them yet, go back and watch them. If you have seen them, you might want to go back and watch it again so you get a refresher on what's going on. But the control matrix is crumbling. Easter Sunday, I was just spent the entire day getting downloaded and infused and healed through every part of my being. For quite a long time, I have had this restrictive energy in my chest that wasn't allowing me to get truly deep breaths. And although I wasn't feeling fear per se, my ego, mind, and processes were harboring fear energies and fear responses that were creating this tightness in my chest. So that was cleared, and it was part of Sunday, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not a Christian. This has nothing to do with that, even though you might think so. Easter Sunday, because of the Christians in the world, has been imbued with the energies and the processes of the resurrection, of being brought back to life and back to light, to being restored, right? Rebirth. We always associate that with rebirth, and spring and Easter is huge rebirth, resurrection, coming back. And that energy was bigger than ever before on Sunday. And that just poured through me and all of you, whether you knew it or not. Maybe you slept really well Sunday night. I know I did. I slept almost 10 hours after basically being a couch potato all day long. So it was strong, and it came through me that strongly. And this is just part of the program, this resurrection energy, burning away the fear. I mean, ever since then, I've been able to really take some, I've been able to breathe deeply, breathe into my diaphragm, full deep breaths without the fear and without the hindrance. Every once in a while, I get reconnected to some of this, and social media is one of the worst things. And I'm sad to say, because you're listening to me here on YouTube, but YouTube is absolutely fraught with negative, fearful energies. And Twitter and Facebook right now are just absolutely out of control with fear. And fear and anger and rage, and people are just reacting negatively because they don't know how to interpret what's coming to them or how to respond to it. So this is all part of what we're going through right now, but we're getting cleaned out. The best thing I can say to you is to spend as many times as you remember it during the day, to spend a few minutes just breathing, opening up your diaphragm, expanding your diaphragm as far as you can. Sometimes it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tense and tight, and you're going to be, oh my God. But keep doing it and imagining that you are bringing in light, right? That you, as you breathe in the oxygen containing beautiful, bright, divine light, and you're bringing that light down and you're breathing that light into your diaphragm, which is the home of your solar plexus, which is where fear has its home. Because fear is a mental process, and the solar plexus is the home of the mind and thought and our ego identity, or ego processes, let's put it that way. So do this as many times as you remember to do it during the day. You will start to feel a little bit lighter. It will help to start opening you up. And see, that's part of the thing. Fear then shuts down full breathing processes, which creates an anaerobic, a negative environment in our bodies and in our energy fields, which sustains this fear response and the negative energy, and interferes with our thinking. We can't think clearly when we are in a state of fear and we have this energy going on. When we're oxygen deprived, our energy is low because we're oxygen deprived. We become vulnerable in our physical body, and we become vulnerable mentally because fear is a control mechanism, right? If the control matrix is built on and supported by fear, and everything that fear creates, anger, rage, grief, depression, unknowing, all of the not love emotions is what fear creates. And the amount of energy that is eaten up by fear, the fear emotion and the fearful thoughts that support it, is beyond astounding. If you can release all of your fears, the amount of energy that you would all of a sudden have available to you would just blow your mind away. You would be running around like the Energizer Bunny, because the energy that's stored in you, that's been stored in your cells and used to support fear and fear energies and fear thoughts in your mind and in your body, is no longer there. It's, you've gotten rid of that, detached from that. That is the biggest message this week, is to just breathe and move through the fear and out of it. Breathe it out. Breathe light in to your solar plexus and blow fear out. Just think of it that way. Just breathe light in and imagine that that light is just flooding your solar plexus as you breathe in, and blow the fear out. All the density and gunk, blow it out. So Now, so what else is going on for this week? We have one of the reasons that my team cleared my schedule for this week was because it's time we're working both on the ascension, the resurrection, and I need time, and I'm sure many of you that I know that are watching this also need time because we are receiving the Christed consciousness encodings. And we aren't just receiving them, we actually have received them a long time ago, but they are being integrated into our systems and our way of thinking and being. And that takes some getting used to. It takes massive reorganization in our energy fields, in our light bodies, in order to let go of all of the ego and mind-based and negative focused processes to open up to a different way of thinking about things, to open up to a way of thinking about things that is reflective of and has a foundation of divine love. What would love do in any given situation? And remember, I've spoken before, and for those of you who have been in my Divine Interventions group and listened to my videos that I did in there, over and over again, I talk about how there are two different kinds of love. Actually, maybe three. All right. But in general, the love that we as humans feel as an emotion is ego based. And it's not that, a lot of us would like, kind of get this thing, ego is a bad thing. No, ego isn't a bad thing, but ego has been programmed by the dark forces and by all that we have been programmed to over the decades to act in ways that don't support love. And what do I mean by that? All right, so when I talk about ego love versus divine love or soul love, ego love, you know that it's ego love when you cannot apply it to everybody. Ego love is exclusive. It says, I love you, but no, I don't think so over here, not so much, or, I love my son, but I don't love your daughter. I love my dog, but I have no use for your cat. Do you see where I'm going here? You can tell it's exclusive. You cannot apply that same feeling and emotion to everybody. It's exclusive to a very limited number of things in our lives. It's a resonance. We are resonant with energies of certain people, and the more things that we share resonance about, the deeper the love, the ego love connection is. Like attracts like. And we talk about, opposites attract. It really isn't that way. There may be things in other people that complement us. They aren't opposite of us, they complement us. So that anything that complements us shares a certain, there's a certain shared resonance in that. Okay, things that can help us, there's a resonance to that. But any of these ego love is a resonance based emotion. Now, then there is soul love. Now, this resonance can be we can be resonant with and feel love for people we have a deep resonance for because they're just as wounded as we are. And so it's a wounded resonance. We're sharing our wounds together. And then when sometimes when one person has said, decides that they don't need to carry their wounds anymore, that they're ready to move away from that and heal themselves, then the resonance with that wound goes away and we start not being as aligned with our partners. Happens all the time. When we have soul resonance, then that is what many of you call soulmates, twin flames, and I don't even want to get into twin flames. There are so many different discussions and definitions of what twin flames are that I won't even go there, except to tell you that in my way of knowing things, as my team has shown me, our twin flame is the higher aspect of ourselves. We have the lower aspect in the physical, and then we have our higher aspect in the etheric and spiritual planes. There are dual aspects of self. That's what I call a twin flame. Soulmates, on the other hand, if you find somebody whose soul resonates with your soul, then that is one of the strongest matches there are. And they aren't that common, though. It's difficult to find that. So that's where we come into love. Now, divine love, right? That's this third kind of love, is not a resonance and it's not a feeling. Divine love is an energy. If you have ever experienced God's grace, you know without a doubt what divine love is. It is an energy that is beyond belief. It is amazing, miraculous. And any of us that have experienced God's grace, and I have talked to many who have, and we all say the same thing, is that we would do anything to be able to experience that again. It is an energy that is so full of joy. It's like bubbly and tingly and light filled. And there is absolutely nothing negative, no sadness, nothing can exist in this energy. And that's just part of it in the receiving the divine grace. The divine love is this energy. When I received grace back when I was 24 years old, at that instant, I knew that heaven was real and that there was way more to us than we knew about. So divine love, grace is an expression of divine love. Divine love is an energy that overrides and overarches everything. Divine love is an energy of creation. Divine love restores truth and exposes truth. Divine love heals because it restores us to our truth. Divine love is inclusive, all inclusive. So in a world run with the tenets and with the foundation of divine love, everything is taken into account and treated equally in divine love. Now, equally in divine love does not mean the same thing as, oh, we got to give them a break because they were so, they didn't know what they were doing. That's not, no, that's not love. That's enabling. We enable too many people in this world to continue to do the things that do not serve love because we have a faulty and limited belief set about what love truly is. Divine love is totally inclusive of all and everything. Now, divine love doesn't mean that, say you have in a case or a dispute, everyone gets the same stuff. They're treated equally. So everybody in a divine love world gets the things that they need to move further and, to further their soul's growth and move forward in the light. Divine love creates win-win situations all the time. That's how divine love works. And I don't want to get into this big time today. That's about as far as I want to go on divine love today and the love thing. But this is, and I'm mentioning it because the Christed consciousness is the framework within which divine love is maintained and present and is the foundation for. And we can't fully ascend until we can come into the realization of divine love versus ego love. Until we can come into that place, we can't ascend. And the Christed consciousness is the tool to help us get into that place, to help us start looking at things differently, to seeing the differences between ego love and divine love, or what is a different way to deal with these things. There are many, many, many ways that spirit has to solve issues and bring solutions to us. We don't have to depend on our minds, which goes into another place where we have to get our minds free of all of the ego stuff going on. So I'm sitting here waving my hands around and realizing you can't see me wave my hands around, but that's okay. You're better off not seeing me right now. But I just wanted to come in today and share that there's a lot happening this week that you need to kind of buckle up, understand that you're going to be under a lot of stress this week. What do you think, if you want to compare it to something, after Jesus was not found in the tomb, and then he appeared, according to the biblical records, to his disciples, what kind of upheaval do you think that created? Remember, the disciples couldn't even, they were all under threat of death. They went to carry on the sharing and preaching of Jesus's teachings, and that was such a threat to the powers that be You know, they thought they got rid of him by crucifying him. Done, gone, problem solved. And then, holy smokes, what is this? So you can see the kind of upheaval that was going on then, and consternation and fear and panic that was going on with that. So multiply that a few thousand times to global issues, and that's what's coming on now. Right? Because we as human beings, our true divine state of being and divine templates are being restored, and we are coming back online as we were meant to be. And we have to come into this state of awareness in the 4D state. The 4D is a mental state. The 4D is the state where we get out of 3D thinking and we start coming into this awareness that there is something else going on, and we've got to integrate it. We've got to figure out what it is. We've got to integrate it and learn how to deal with it. And so even though we are functioning on 5D New Earth, we are fully there, and we are in the 5D vibrational timeline. We are still functioning also in that 4D mental place, trying to come to grips with how everything is changing, and to develop, to first start seeing that things aren't what we always thought they were. Things are a lot different than we thought they were. There is way so much more than we ever thought there was, to us and to this world and to everything. And, and that extends in both the physical plane and the spiritual plane. And we're trying to wrap our heads around all of this. And this is what's going on in the 4D, right? That 4D dimension. It's a mental dimension. It's a dimension of moving through, from 3D to 5D. 4D is the portal to that, the mental portal that brings us to the stage where we can separate from ego. We don't want to get rid of ego, but we want to detach. We want to separate from the control of the ego mind and take control ourselves with our higher mind and our conscious mind. All right, and start coming into our own power, recognizing how absolutely freaking awesome each one of us is. I have a client who I recently did a session with, and we did a meditation that I took her into a place where she was introduced to her true self. And that true self is her divine self, right? That upper part of ourselves. We have the physical and then we have the spiritual part of ourselves. And she was taken to see that part of herself. And as soon as she walked into the room and saw that, she started to sob uncontrollably, because she recognized that was her. This beautiful, awesome, huge, tall being filled with light was her. Up until that point in her life, she never dared believe that she was anything other than she thought she was. And she could see the power that this that this other portion of herself, this higher portion of herself, contained. This is what we have going on for us, peeps. This is where we have to get to the place of recognizing, being open to incorporating that and living from that space of understanding and knowing, claiming our power and our authority claiming our free will and claiming our sovereignty in our domains and claiming our authority over that which is not of the light. We are given that as a birthright, but we aren't using it because we have allowed the controlling matrix of this planet to convince us that we were powerless. And every one of us who is dealing with feelings of powerlessness, the fear that comes from that, and is part of that, the wound that comes from our accepting powerlessness, part of that is coming from our souls, because our souls know better. We're saying, oh no, I don't have the power, I can't do anything about this, I'm so helpless, oh my God. And your soul is saying, no, wake up, get a grip. You aren't powerless. You may not physically be able to do anything in this situation, but you are not powerless. You have divine power behind you that can assist you here. You have that divine power as part of your own being. Let her rip, or just sit with that power and know that you're okay, regardless of how bad it seems on the outside, that somehow if you allow the divine in you and around you and above you and that is you and works for you and is here to help you, if you allow that divine to do that, you will move through whatever it is you're going through, and you're going to be fine. This is the transition that we're going through in 4D, is we're getting to the point where we're starting to be willing to recognize that we are more than we ever thought we were. Not just that the universe is more than we thought it was, or that everything going on in the world is not what it appears to be, it's something other. No, the other part of that is that we are way more than we ever thought we were, which has been hidden from us for eons. Okay. And part of the first response to that when you start looking at that is maybe to get angry. How come I didn't know this all this time? Why didn't I know this? Just trust. Let go of the anger. Take deep breaths into your diaphragm. Let it go. Now, the other thing that I would warn you about for this week is to keep yourself cleared and shielded. We are under massive attack as the control matrix crumbles. The forces behind it will do anything and everything they can to regain control. Our minds can be under attack. Our bodies can be under attack. Spirit, our situation, our lives can be under attack. Shield yourself and pray for Archangel Michael to protect you and his minions to protect you and shield you from these attacks. Send out your light. Again, bring in light. Breathe out fear. Ask Michael to protect you, and do it a number of times a day, because the energies are so tumultuous. You can't just get up in the morning and say, Michael, please place your shield of protection around me for the day and expect it to last. It's not going to. Not only that, any kind of emotional upheaval or tweak, and when I say upheaval, I don't necessarily mean a crying jag or an anger jag, just something that you can feel like that little twinge of go on, that will blow holes in your protection. So ask Michael to restore and renew your protection a number of times a day to keep you clear of all that is of entity origin, all that is not of the light or in service to your highest good and God's will. Do that as often as you can remember. When things are going really wrong or things are not going the way you expect them to do, like you've got dropsy, right? You're dropping things or stumbling over things, or you dump over the coffee pot, which is something you never do because whatever, the situations, or you wind up dumping wax all over the place. And it's, things are happening to you that are not like you, right? Are not normal for you. And they're not normal. Once in a while, we have these things happen. But when they happen 2 or 3 times in a row over a short period of time, it's not you. There's something influencing you negatively to bring you into a state of anger and frustration. And so we don't want that. We want to just clear out, breathe, and let it go. And ask Michael to clear you and protect you again. Michael, please clear and protect my energies. Remove from me everything coming into me. And ask Michael to protect your home and clear your home. Do whatever clearing rituals you do to keep your home free of negative energies and entities. But be diligent about this at this time so that you don't wind up feeding the control matrix. Anytime, a good way for you to remember this is anytime that you are in fear, you are either being controlled or you are controllable. So if you want to stay in control of your true self, of yourself, of what you're doing in your life, if you want to maintain self-control, self-determination, then you have to stay out of fear. That is the most important message for this week, is to stay out of fear, because fear feeds the control matrix, which controls you. Your fear feeds the control matrix, which allows it to control you. Your fear doesn't allow the control matrix to control me. It allows it to control you. So stay out of fear in the best way you know how. Stay away from most TV media, everything. Try and find some nonviolent, positive movies to watch or books to read, music, classical music, or some, good music that brings you into light, and makes you feel good and lifts you up, but is not full of violent lyrics. There are some of you who are into heavy metal, and I'm sorry, that's just not going to do it. Heavy metal is a 3D frequency. Getting big confirmation from my team here right now with that. All right, team, anything else you want me to tell them this week? We're good? All right, so that's going to be it for this week. That's the message, and I hope that it has helped you, that it will help you throughout the week to be aware of what's going on and your best means of dealing with it. Get plenty of rest, drink plenty of water, follow the needs of your body. You may find that your mind is getting clouded, that you can't think really well. Part of that, you can ask Michael to protect you from that. If it's not entity-based, it's more a matter of this reorganization that's going on in our energy fields. So be gentle with yourself. It's not really a good time for you to start any courses or do a lot of studying. It's going to be hard for you to absorb any of that stuff. So be well, be fearless, and be in the light. I love you all. And thank you for joining me here today for this 40,000 foot reading, which wasn't a reading. Farewell, beloved ones, until next week. See ya.